Step 1, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
Well, happy Thursday to all of my beautiful coffee beans. Come on in the chat. We've got a lot to discuss on the Nancy Guthrie case. And man, this case keeps getting stranger.
Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for that super chat. We appreciate your support.
I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my beautiful people. Why do I have that up? I do not know. Let me turn this off. There we go. There we go. Hey, guys, it's Bullhorn Betty. Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime. We're covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. I want to say thank you because we've already got so many people in here and so much to truly go over. So I was saying hi to you. Thank you, Melanie. She says, happy Thursday, Betty, Delilah. Mods, chat, I wanted to send love and prayers to everyone. You guys are the best. I'm glad to be on your channel. Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you. And OG Jitterbug says, good morning for your goal. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. If you guys would, as you guys are coming in, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I have been going all over here. You know, we're trying to make heads or tails of what's going on in this case, and sometimes law enforcement doesn't really tell us. So we have to dig deep and use our common sense and start making ways in this. Sometimes it's very obvious, like they came out and cleared the siblings and their spouses, including Tommaso Cioni. So it has, you know, we do have a little bit of heartburn related to this case. We're very confused. It's okay. If you guys are confused, that's fine. I've been doing this for a really long time. I'm confused too. So we're all in the same boat. Hey, Hobo's mom, Juicy Jules. It's nice to see you, Robin. Guys, don't forget we have an event going on next week, right? So February 26th, everybody's coming out to, we're going to have cake. We're going to have some water and some sodas there at noon out there in front of Sumner County. We're doing an event all day on the 26th. We're going to be sign waving, honking for Sebastian, reminding the community Sebastian Rogers, he disappeared when he was 15 years old, just turned 17 years old in December, still not brought home. We have no idea where he's at. And we're just going to be honking for Sebastian, reminding everybody there's a son and a child missing in their community that still needs to be brought home. So if you guys are out in that area, please consider coming by. We do have an event page. It is honk for missing Sebastian Rogers, honk for missing Sebastian Rogers. You can find that on Facebook. Please go over there, sign up, show your support for it. Say some inspiring words, comments and stuff for Sebastian and his family. And just pray. And the folks that can't make it out there, there's a lot you guys can do. You can be there in spirit. You can light a candle. You can put a green light on. You can watch the production. We're going to be out there. I'll be speaking to the sheriff top of every hour for 5 minutes for 8 hours a day for the entire week. So that's going to be my job, breaking down the case for him and hopefully getting a press conference out of it. And we also need to try to work on getting Sebastian's Law. Anyways, that's a side note, guys. Thank you for all being here for Savannah Guthrie, as well as her mom, Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie vanished from her Tucson home over 2 weeks ago. We are now in the third week, and today's show confronts the head-scratching clearance. The jaw-dropping reward has surged to over $2,000, and the maddening whodunit with zero arrests in sight. From Mexico being debunked to family and prime suspect Luke DALEY being exonerated basically by DNA, unofficially exonerated by DNA. We're going to get through that in just a second. We're left staring at unidentified evidence, begging the question, who snatched this 84-year-old grandmother in the dead of night? Sheriff Chris Nanos drops a bombshell. The siblings and their spouse fully cleared after interviews. No family's ties to the masked intruder caught on the camera around 2 a.m. on February 1st. Now we're looking at Luke DALEY, which has come under heavy scrutiny for quite a while. Thank you, John. Time-consuming disguise is the crux of this case. We're going to be going through that, John. It's funny that you say that. I've actually got some things up on the screen that we are going to be going through. Sit tight. One of my mods did send me some disguise. We're going to be discussing that as well. So that's going to be right up your alley. Chris Nanos, again, like I said, he was dropping the bombshell that the family's cleared, which took us all by surprise because on the 15th, nobody was cleared. On the 16th, the family was cleared. And how dare us look at them? It's just a little crazy. And then, of course, the next promising lead, Luke DALEY, the Tucson felon nabbed 2 miles away with priors in CODIS, gave a sampling that did not match the glove or what was found on the property of Nancy's. So is he out? It seems like he might be out. And then you've got Mexico. That's right. A total bust as well. No trail south despite FBI's calls and ransom note raving of crypto demands up to $6 million. USD, which told us it possibly a foreign actor. And of course, yet the reward has just exploded to over $200,000, with a Milwaukee attorney gifting $100,000 to 888 Crime on top of the FBI's pile, screaming desperation for the one tip among the 40,000 to crack this wide open. From a Walmart backpack, a Walmart holster for a gun, a mystery rooftop camera, and a pacemaker ping that vanished. Is this a professional hit or a freak random grab on Savannah Guthrie's mom? We've got no face, no names, and of course, no motive as we sit right now. Hey, Lethally Blonde. I try not to call you Legally Blonde. I'm so sorry. I hope you're doing well. You should add to Spike to your timeline. We assume it, but have we gotten confirmation from reliable? I mean, we can assume that it's spiked, but I haven't heard anything about the pacemaker or what was on the phone or the app prior to it disconnecting. How does this case, this high-profile case with blood, video, gloves galore, sit still at square one? And that's what I feel like every day we come back here and we hit our head against a hard surface even harder the next day, because the stuff that we thought was going to pan out one day turns out not to pan out, and we're back at square one. What is the grudge against this media family? A botched burglary? Is this some type of dark web ghost? Over the next 2 hours, we're going to dissect every angle and chase new theories because we've got nothing else to chase. The family's out. Mexico's out. And now we're looking at potentially Luke DALEY, the strongest lead we've had so far, potentially out. So we're going to be opening up the phones. So call in with what you know. This is the Nancy Guthrie Enigma, and we're just getting started on this very, very, very baffling case. So that's kind of my intro. We're going to get started on this. We're going to go through it because I know many of you guys are like, what? Luke out? Luke is our primary target at this point, right? Once the family's gone, what the hell do we have left, right? Well, unfortunately, we're hearing that this Luke DALEY, and it's not even anybody that's saying Luke DALEY is out. You know, this is, as you guys can see, unconfirmed, right? It's unconfirmed. We don't have a source telling us he's out, but we do. We do. It's called DNA, folks. The DNA does not lie. The DNA does not lie. Claudia, it's nice to see you. Sonia, everybody in chat, welcome in. Come on in. If you guys are new to this case, this is about the 84-year-old grandmother, Nancy Guthrie, well-known daughter, famous daughter, Savannah Guthrie with Today's Show, NBC Today's Show. Her mom has been snatched out of her home in the middle of the night by a masked gunman. This is the masked gunman you see on your screen right now. And we're trying to determine who this is. Cajun Adventures, it's nice to see you from Louisiana. I hope you're doing well. Christy, hello, hello. Bill, it's nice to see you. Come on in, folks. We got a lot to discuss here because, you know, we're right now we're in sticker shock. I'm in sticker shock. Bullhorn Betty's shocked. Okay? I'm shocked because here's why I'm shocked. Because before we saw this masked gunman, we started looking deep. We thought this family, right? We're all kind of looking for a family or friend or somebody connected to this house. That's what we're looking for. And when we got this image that we're looking before you, it changed a lot. When we got to see the movements of this individual before you, it changed a lot. Why? Because it showed a much younger person, a much younger movement. It showed that the prime suspect we were all kind of side-eyeing, Tommaso Cioni, right? Even though I wasn't all in on the Tommaso Cioni, I mean, I was, it like I said, it fit a box, right? He fit a box along with a lot of other people. So I made sure I was very clear on that. But for the most part, my audience was hook, line, and sinker in Tommaso Cioni. So once we seen this masked gunman, we knew it wasn't. So now we're looking, we knew it just had to be him. He had to be associated somehow. So now we started looking in his background, looked at his friends, and we see these young people and we're like, oh, this could be it, right? You guys know we walked through it all together. And come to find out, no, that's not it either, because we have to remember those photos we're looking at are 20 years old. So those people in the photos are 20 years older than they were when they took those photos, okay? So those photos were taken maybe in their 30s, their mid to late 30s. Well, now they're in their mid to late 50s, okay? So I know that on the face of it, we're looking at these things, and this is the way it was with Milo. I remember this Milo character, and this was in the Kylan Schulte, Crystal Turner. This is a crazy case. You probably recognize their names, but don't know how. It's because of Gabby Petito. They were the two lesbian married couple that witnessed Gabby being smacked in the face by Brian Laundrie in front of the Moonflower in Moab, Utah. Well, within 30 days, all four of them were deceased from that point, within 30 days, okay? And so this whole situation with Crystal Turner and Kylan Schulte, you know, many people were speculating it was Brian. And of course, we had this whole murder board. We had like 5 individuals, and there's this one guy, Milo. This guy's a bad dude, right? We talked to multiple people. He's already gotten away with the big M word, murder, right? He's never been charged or convicted with homicide, but there were multiple people that we spoke to that spoke of an event where he killed somebody. And so we're going over there to this hardened criminal, right? This hardened criminal to find out if he might have murdered Crystal Turner and Kylan Schulte, okay? But that was like 20 or 30 years prior to us being there. So we hear this story. We know that she had some connection with this guy because of the substances, and you know he was still, believe it or not, even at his advanced age, still diddling around with all those substances. Well, he was an elderly man on a cane, okay? Hardly the tough guy that unalived somebody in the snow, 20, 30 years prior to. He's a feeble man, okay? So we're all getting ready, I'm scared. My knees are knocking. I got to go knock on this person's door that we heard killed somebody, right? To ask him if he killed 2 ladies, right? Because I'm pretty blunt like that, right? Did you kill him? That's what I asked. You kill him. And so my knees are knocking, and of course I'm scared of going to the front door, but the good news is he was walking out as we were pulling up, so I was able to see him outside where I knew he didn't have any weapons, so I didn't mind going and running up on him and questioning him. But he was a feeble man. He went from being on our murder board when we were here in Florida to us knocking, going up to knock his door, him being outside and him not being the guy. So I'm just putting this out there because I've got experiences. I got a lot of experiences in the work that I've done. And this is where I've learned that we just can't say, oh, it's this. And we have to use some type of common sense. So even his bandmate, I was kind of not really jiving with that because I thought the guy was too old. Okay. Not that he's old. He's just too old for the movements that we saw of somebody in that video. That's what I'm saying. The person in that video is much younger than a 50 or 60 some odd year old person. And that's the point I was trying to make. What are we dealing with here? And you're probably wanting to know, what am I talking about when it comes to Luke being cleared? And this is not it. This is about the defense attorney. Hold on here. We're going to listen to that. That's an interesting take. But that's not why we're here. We're actually here. I don't know why I must be moving. I need to get some of this publications out of here. It's this video right here. So at the end of this video, which was sent to me by one of our audience members, and they said, go to 951 and listen to this. And I remember writing them back after I listened to this and said, this clears Luke. So while Luke is still officially a suspect in the grand scheme of law enforcement, in our realm, because we follow the we follow the leads. We follow what we have here. And we have to understand Luke was apprehended, right? He was detained. He had to go down to their office. They had a search warrant for his person, for his house, for his mom to be removed from the house, right? And most likely he could have and may have, which is speculative, we don't know for sure, may have provided his DNA. But even if he didn't, he's already been charged with felonies, folks. When you're charged with a felony in the United States now, they have rights to take your DNA, whether you like it or not, without a subpoena, without a warrant. Once you've committed a felony or you have been arrested for a felony, they make you chew on a spongy thing. That is your DNA that they are taking and putting into a system, and they can now do that lawfully and legally without a warrant, okay? So this guy had felonies. He had been charged with felonies. He had been convicted of felonies. He has been in prison before, okay? So it's going to be very, very important that you follow with me on why we're saying there's no way Luke DALEY can be a party to this. And I understand why his attorney is really working around the clock to have him cleared. Because in my estimation, he should be cleared. And I know you guys are ready to take my head off. I just want to remind you, I am the messenger. Okay? I'm not the one that clears this man, okay? DNA does that, okay? I'm just the messenger. Much like the Guthrie family and the spouses being cleared, you guys were ready to tear my head off, and I'm telling you, I got nothing. I can't do nothing about it, folks. I can't do nothing about it because I'm just telling you what we're finding, okay? So here is my receipts. Usually I make you guys wait for it. But I know that because this is such a controversial statement for me to make that Luke DALEY is possibly cleared, I know you guys are not going to believe it. And so, hey, Animal Mother, it's nice to see you. So I want you guys to hear it. And when you guys hear it, we're going to connect the dots for you. And I'm going to explain exactly why he's most likely cleared. Cleared.
I'll see you next time.
I'm outside the house where the SWAT raid happened on Friday night. This is actually the house right here.
So Brian Enton was standing in the front of this home near the driveway. This home was appraised at $914,000 this past year, and it is listed in a revocable trust. Stay with me. Okay, so the house was put into the DALEY Revocable Trust by John A. DALEY and Mary Chapman DALEY. John and Mary were married for 40 years. Sadly, in 2018, John passed away, but Mary still continued to live. This is John A. DALEY, who passed away in 2018. He had a PhD. He was a priest. He was a counselor. Him and Mary did marriage counseling. He seemed like just an amazing human being, and you would want to have somebody like this as your neighbor. Now, here's where things get interesting. John was survived by his two sons, Matthew and Luke. So I looked up Matthew and Luke. And guess who has a record in the Arizona Department of Corrections?
Listen.
Luke. This is John's son, Luke DALEY. He was brought in for questioning after the raid. He's also in CODIS because he's a convicted felon. So back in 2017 and 2018, he was charged with solicitation. Luke DALEY, he was brought in for questioning after the raid. He's also in CODIS because
he's also in CODIS because he's a convicted felon. Now, do you guys get where I'm going with this? So if he's in CODIS, which that's what we're hearing, the man's in CODIS. We know the glove went to CODIS and the DNA inside or around on the property of Nancy Guthrie. You guys get it? So if Nancy Guthrie's DNA profile from her home or around her home and the DNA from the glove that they found. Now, you remember, the glove and the DNA in the home do not match, okay? So the glove doesn't match the home, but both of those DNA profiles were uploaded into CODIS. And CODIS came back with no hit on the glove or the foreign DNA inside the house, okay? So this goes back to Luke most likely being cleared because the only way he would be a suspect at this point would be if he got a hit We know from law enforcement, as well as the FBI, no CODIS hit. Yet Luke is in CODIS. So what is that telling us? That's telling us Luke DALEY is most likely cleared by his own DNA, folks. He's most likely cleared by his own DNA. This is the best type of clearance that you can have in a case like this. But if he's a felon, his DNA is in CODIS. And we know for a fact that there was no CODIS hit, cleared from DNA only at the moment. Exactly. Which is a big, now, could he be involved in planning phase, in getting people? Yeah, he could. But is it reasonable? I don't know, because we don't know what we're looking at here, right? We've got a 84-year-old woman that's been ripped out of her home in the middle of the night by a scary masked gunman. And every time we look at possible avenues, they're shut down. So let's look at what's been shut down for us with all of this information we've got. We know the family's cleared. The family's cleared, okay? The family is cleared. Their spouses are cleared. They do not have direct involvement in this case. They have been cleared. And I know people are going to say, oh, it's just the sheriff. It wasn't it was the FBI and the sheriff. Those statements are joint statements. FBI made a statement that Mexico was out. That was a joint statement. That was on behalf of FBI as well as the local and state government, okay, and state law enforcement, okay? This is not just a local federal partnership. This is a local state and federal partnership. So it's not even these aren't even being statements just from Pima County. They're from Pima County. They're from the state of Arizona as well as the feds. So you got to understand, there is no statements that are ever made out of this case that are produced, published in print, that don't go through multiple hands before they're printed. Okay, so they would have been approved by every commander. That's you know, when they do this stuff, that's the proper procedure. So I just don't see how the sheriff will make a statement that doesn't bode with the feds, okay? It just doesn't work like that. I know in your mind it does, but in reality it doesn't, okay? Because of chain of command and things like that. So let's go back. Let's listen to this all over again so you guys get a good hearing of this. I'm putting this up front so you guys can clip it and you guys can go ahead and run with this story because Luke DALEY's out. And we can't keep harping on people that are cleared and out. Even though they're not publicly cleared, at the end of the day, we know he's a felon. We know his DNA is in CODIS. And if his DNA is in CODIS and CODIS did not get a hit, then we know that he could not possibly be the subject of either DNA. Okay? Because otherwise it would have hit on him. We would have an arrest.
And Mary did marriage counseling. He seemed like just an amazing human being, and you would want to have somebody like this as your neighbor. Now here's where things get interesting. John was survived by his two sons, Matthew and Luke. So I looked up Matthew and Luke. And guess who has a record in the Arizona Department of Corrections? Luke.
Send me
this
that.
This is John's son, Luke DALEY. He was brought in for questioning after the raid. He's also in CODIS because...
That's what Megyn Kelly said. So you must be watching Megyn Kelly. I disagree with what Megyn Kelly said.
He's a convicted felon. So back in 2017 and 2018, he was charged with solicitation of dangerous drug violation, drug paraphernalia violation, endangerment, criminal damage to property, and flight from law enforcement vehicles. So he took off. That was just his felonies. He also has a misdemeanor and 2 traffic tickets. SWAT had a goal to bring in 3 people for questioning. Luke DALEY, who lives there, Mary DALEY, his mom, the owner, and then his friend, Zach, who was pulling up in a white van, and they pulled him over to bring him in for questioning.
White
van? So this is Luke's friend, Zach. He was the one pulled over and brought in for questioning. I don't know if he lives at that residence, but he is Luke's friend.
So Luke's friend that was found in the Range Rover was pulled over. Now this is Zach. He is friends with Luke. This one I truly believe matches, in my opinion, the image more than Luke did. So I don't know how this all, because I think that his eyes are more connected to the subject than not. But he was also detained. So I don't know his criminal history. I don't know if he's in CODIS. And I don't know if this, but for me, this guy right here, because under that mask, there's one angle that the assailant turns in, and you can see he's a good-looking guy under that mask. I don't know that to be true. We didn't hear that because we only heard one male subject was detained in that Range Rover. So I don't want to spread around misinformation because Kayla's out, and I want to make sure everybody understands. I've done the research. Kayla Day may be associated or affiliated with a Guthrie family, but she's not affiliated or related to this Guthrie family. I've went through this entire Guthrie family line. There is no days. Since we have a little more in here than last night, I might as well tell you guys. This bloodline here, this Guthrie bloodline here, the other names affiliated with it are Cole and Buchanan, but no day. Cole and Buchanan. Those are the last names affiliated with this Guthrie family. And I think it's important because some people were passing around that Kayla Day is the distant relative of this. That doesn't jive. I went far back, okay? I went way, 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 way far back. And this Kayla Day, I cannot see any connection of her family whatsoever. And somebody's like, well, did you look at her? No, I didn't look at her line because that has nothing to do with the line I'm looking at. I'm looking at Arlo's not related to this family. So Arlo is not related to this family. But the Day family, I don't know. I didn't look into them because I'm looking at this Guthrie family and following this Guthrie family line. And this Guthrie family line has no days in it. Not even a one. Okay? Cole and Buchanan. Cole and Buchanan are the ones, but no day. So I thought that was interesting. I know that sometimes these things do grow legs and do walk on their own. We also heard about the polygraph test yesterday. I wanted to give you guys an update. The polygraph test, from what I'm hearing, was for employment purposes, has nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie's case. So those were the updates that I did want to make sure you know. And guys, we're learning today that Luke DALEY had DNA in CODIS, and CODIS did not render a match for that DNA. So at this point, I can say that it's unofficial, but Luke DALEY has to be innocent. You know, he had, or not innocent. I mean, if he had any role in this, it was one that was more of a passive role, okay? It wasn't an active role in whatever we're seeing. Guys, we still don't know what we're looking at here. I want to be very, very, very clear. We still do not know what kind of crime we're looking at here. I feel like this was a homicide from the very beginning. Before we even knew, when we thought it was the family, I still thought it was a homicide. I still thought the poor lady lost her life inside that home before she was ever taken out of the home. I want to be very clear on that. And I don't know if that's true or not. Many people believe that she was able to walk out of the home on her own. I'm not there with you. Okay. I don't know who Penny Guthrie is. So far, I haven't been able to find a Penny Guthrie affiliated with this family. So I don't know. I have no earthly idea. Some people, there are Guthrie families in the Arizona area. There are other people that appear, but when you do the actual background search and you know who their family truly are, not Google, but I pay for a service that gives me all this background information, lets me know where their emails are, what their social medias are, their family, even the RSOs that live near and around them or other criminals. It tells me their criminal history. It tells me whether they had bankruptcies. It tells me a lot of information, okay? So, yeah, there are other Guthrie families, but at the end of the day, and we've already came across a few people mistaken some of the Guthrie history with another Guthrie history, because it sounds like there are multiple Guthrie lines that have famous people affiliated and associated with them. This is not the one. So I thought that was interesting, and I wanted to clarify that because I didn't up until yesterday I had not looked into Kayla Day. I hadn't been talking about it until something produced. Nothing was really producing, and so people were still talking about it, and so I decided to take some time. It took me about 2 hours yesterday to take a deep dive into this Nancy Guthrie's background and see if there's any days, any Penny Guthrie, anything that we can follow from this person to 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 this person. And unfortunately, there's just no days. But I did find, just to let you know, they're not all Guthries, but the other names affiliated with this family were Cole and Buchanan. And so those had to have been probably some, females in the family that got married, or maybe they got married to the Guthries or the vice versa, but I did look into it. I did take a deep dive, and I'm not seeing Penny. I'm not seeing a Kayla Day. I'm not seeing any days whatsoever affiliated with this family. So just to put that into perspective, I know it's been quite, and then we find out yesterday that Mexico's out. And how do we find out about that? Is because a Mexican official stated that the American government was reaching out to them, to the Sonora area, which is right over the Arizona border in Mexico, and the FBI said we ruled this avenue out a while ago. So Mexico's out. So now we have the Guthrie siblings, their families, we have Mexico all out, and now we're looking at Luke DALEY being out, at least biologically. He was not at the house. Is this a situation where Luke DALEY was involved in the planning of it? Maybe that's the case. If he's involved, it would be something like that. It wouldn't have been hands-on anything, because we have no Luke DALEY DNA. So who was on the glove and who's inside the house? Could it be Zach? Because in all fairness, there's one image. Let me see if I can find that image and put it up here. Give me just a second. There's one image where he's turned, and you can tell he's a good-looking dude. Actually, I might have it already up here. Hold on. From the mask stuff that we're going to be doing. No. Okay. We'll get back to that. So let me look here. Hold on a second. And I keep pausing this. And I don't know why. When I pause this keeps running. It drives me nuts. This is the crap that drives me nuts on these publications. They just need to stop. Like every time we come here, we don't want to run a video. It just needs to stop. I've got one. And I'm going to keep this photo up there because the guy that I've got, I'm telling you, is a good looking, from the side. You can tell he's going to be good looking because he's got such a perfect nose shape. Let's see if this is it. This is it. And we'll do this one. Let's open with Google Chrome. Here, let's see if we can get them up. Okay. You can see almost the perfect straight nose. Yeah, that's not good. But there's one, I don't have the image. Somebody caught the image just right, but he has his face tilted, and you can see his jawbone and his nose perfectly. And I really, truly believe it matched this guy here more so than Luke DALEY. Even though they have a similar face, in all fairness. They're both kind of round, both got the same, eyes and stuff like this. But this guy here, he was the one found in the Range Rover. He's the one that was looking up like this, like, oh God, what did I get myself into? He looked nervous. He looked really nervous. Really, really nervous, in my opinion. And his hands were big. He had fat hands. Fat hands. So that would go right in. This guy here, this Zach guy. I heard of this guy before I heard of the Luke DALEY. I actually thought Luke DALEY and him were the same guy. They look fairly similar. To me, they do. I don't know how you guys do. We have his DNA too, and if we have his DNA too, then he might be out as a subject as well. But I know for a fact, because we could hear the history of Luke DALEY. And the history of Luke DALEY is not a good one. So if you guys are just coming in, which we have a few new people here, I'm going to go ahead and bring this back so you guys can hear it. I want to give you guys a little tidbit of information first. Okay, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, folks. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. How strong do you need to carry? It's heavy, but over the shoulder, because firemen, military, there are other people that are trained to take to carry an incapacitated human by balance and without tearing their back up. There's certain ways that you can get a incapacitated person movement from a human being. But there's multiple ways to do it. Dragging, comforters where people were thinking, wheelbarrow. But, there is ways to position a person over your body and carry them out over, picking them up over the shoulder. And anybody in the construction business, which I'm going to keep saying because of the way he positioned his hands a few times that I saw, really makes me feel construction, and he's had a tool pouch on before. With that being said, we have learned to throw things over our shoulders, okay? I've learned at a very young age. I was out there working electrical work with my father. I rode on his truck since I was 2 years old. He babysat me, and I handed him tools while he did his job, okay, when I was young. And as I got older, I still did more and more things in the construction business. And I can just tell you, one of the things that we've learned is throw stuff over our shoulders. I was able to lift 107 pounds at 7 years old by using my upper body strength. That's why I'm top heavy. My arms are not as muscular as they once used to be, but you learn a lot of stuff when you do things, and you've got to learn to balance a lot of weight, because like electricians and stuff like that, you're moving heavy wire. You're moving big fat wire. And that stuff is heavy. And so you've got to be able to find ways to do it by yourself. So, I feel like that's the case. But anyways, getting back to this, as you guys know, we've got the glove and the hit from inside the home or around the home on the property. And both of those went through CODIS, and CODIS did not hit. We did not get a hit on CODIS. So it makes me now, the glove, I was hopeful that the glove and the property DNA matched, but we're learning that the property DNA did not match. It did not match. So now we have a glove profile and we have a property profile. It sounds to me that both of those things were entered into the CODIS system. Both of those have come back with no hit. The property DNA as well as the glove DNA, no hit. The problem is Luke DALEY has a profile in CODIS. So, unofficially, he's been cleared. Okay? Law enforcement hasn't come out and told us that Luke DALEY's cleared. But he has to be cleared because there's no way he could have a profile in CODIS and CODIS not render a hit. So it's not him. It's not his DNA. It's not his profile in the house or on that glove. So in my opinion, if Luke DALEY is involved, he's involved from a passive organizational standpoint. That means he may have had some planning involved if he's the guy, which I'm starting to think he's not the guy. Is not the only suspect. He's not. There's 40. Let's not forget, criminal. There's 40. We learned that there's 40 people on a short list because the firearm stores law enforcement was going to. Investigators were going to several different local stores in that area, and the people had reported having looked through 40 different images and 40 different people being on this list. So Criminal Network is saying Luke is involved, I promise. So he's saying Luke is involved, but Luke has been cleared of DNA. So if he is involved, he's in a planning phase of the involvement versus an active physical phase of the involvement. Maybe there's something later down, but at least for the abduction or kidnapping and that glove, he's nowhere to be found. Okay, he's not associated with that aspect of it. I don't know about the lineup, but we do know that there were 40 photos. Now, I'm very cautious because we've been doing this a long time with photo lineups. I don't like the fact that they're taking willy-nilly 40 photos in these shops to see people, because when push comes to shove and they've got to do the lineup, unfortunately, those are going to be bad lineups because they already previously saw a photo of these 40 people before this lineup. So it's going to be an ineffective lineup because of the way that they've handled this with the store clerks. But again, February 1st, 3:01 a.m., 911 call, possible kidnapping. Woman screaming out of a window wearing all black in a blue Malibu with no plates on Oracle and River Road. That's the first time I'm hearing about that. Criminal Network, if you've got something that you can share with me, if you're boots on the ground there or something else, my email is bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'd like to, if you've got some of this stuff, I'd like to review it for myself. Picture of the suspect with no backpack, no gun, no eyes from January 11th. Interesting. Was that the weird photo? Was there multiple photos in there from two different time frames? I have nuggets. Well, I'd like to hear those nuggets. That clip does not tell anyone he was alone, right? It could be him regardless. Nah, I think the DNA, if the DNA is not on the property and not on the glove, I think it's a good chance that we can say that Luke wasn't at the property. So in part, I'm still going to say he is cleared. He's cleared from being the person that took her out of her home. We'll say that. So this is why.
The house where the SWAT raid happened on Friday night. This is actually the house right here.
So Brian Enton was standing in the front of this home near the driveway. This home was appraised at $914,000 this past year, and it is listed in a revocable trust. Stay with me. Okay, so the house was put into the Daley Revocable Trust by John A. Daley and Mary Chapman Daley. John and Mary were married for 40 years. Sadly, in 2018, John passed away, but Mary still continued to live. This is John A. Daley, who passed away in 2018. He had a PhD. He was a priest. He was a counselor. Him and Mary did marriage counseling. He seemed like just an amazing human being, and you would want to have somebody like this as your neighbor. Now, here's where things get interesting. John was survived by his two sons, Matthew and Luke. So I looked up Matthew and Luke. And guess who has a record in the Arizona Department of Corrections? Luke. This is John's son, Luke Daley. He was brought in for questioning after the raid. He's also in CODIS because he's a convicted felon. So back in 2017 and 2018, he was charged with solicitation of dangerous drug violation, drug paraphernalia violation, endangerment, criminal damage to property, and flight from law enforcement vehicles. So he took off. That was just his felonies. He also has a misdemeanor and 2 traffic tickets.
So that was just the felony. He still has 2 misdemeanors and a traffic ticket. So again, his profile would be in the CODIS database. It is not. Luke was adopted. He is Mexican, Hispanic. Would be probably. Well, I guess you'd probably be. So, I've got Mexican wrestlers in my family, and so I just call them, their nationality is Hispanic to me. But anyway, either way. Well, I am a new subscriber, but unsubscribing. No way, a 7-year-old lifted 150 pounds, so I don't trust you. Well, I can promise you I did. I used to carry a bunch of stuff, and I can prove it. I grabbed people by the legs. I don't need to prove anything to you. It's still possible. I'm sorry you're too much of a dumbass. Whoever this Abba's servant is, since they don't like it here, can somebody go and block them so they don't have to come back here again? Well, since you can't handle yourself, we'll make sure we handle you. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they have where someone in the area Googled her address. I'm not there in the show yet, folks. Okay, I know that Karen or the Real Me Too has sent me something, and we are getting there. I'm not that far into the show yet, so this is where we're at right now. I do appreciate that. We also have more information coming out as well, because this right here, people are saying, is there a disguise under the disguise? And so that is another question that we have, is if there is a disguise under the skies. Yeah, we don't do rude here. No, we do not. We do not do rude here. If you can't act like an adult on this show, we get you moved on. We're not a JLR show. We're not, everybody can speak any way you want to. You're held to a standard here on this show. It is a privilege to be in my chat. It is not a right. And I like making sure everybody understands that. You do not have a right to be here. You do not have a right to communicate with me. You do not have a right to communicate with my audience. If you come here, you're going to be respectful. If you don't know how to be respectful, we will make sure that you don't come here again. And if you do come here, you'll be in timeout. You'll be sitting over there all by yourself, not being able to communicate with anybody. And if you don't believe me, ask the hundreds to thousands of people before you that are in my blocked channel right now, my blocked account right now. Okay? They do not come out of unblocked. Okay? I don't play that game. Once you're blocked, you're blocked. You have to create a new account to come and speak to me. That's how we roll over here. So please tread lightly. You can debate the issues. We welcome all opinions, but you will not be rude to me. You will not be rude to my audience. You will not be rude to my mods. If you choose to be rude to my mods, be rude to me, or be rude to my audience, we move you along. It's just that simple. Now, we understand that these cases are emotional, and sometimes it provokes emotion, and we understand that. And so when you're here every day and we see you and you're participating and you shoot off at the mouth, we don't block you. We remove your comment, but we don't block you. Why? Because you're known here. But you come over here monkey effing with me, I don't play, okay? I'm half holy, half hood. That means you can pray with me, but don't play with me, okay? And I mean that. In every aspect of my life, I mean that, okay? I'm not a talking head. I'm a human being. I'm an average Joe, and I will put you in your place very quickly, okay? So you may think I'm unprofessional. I'm professional. I don't care. This is my show. I'll do whatever the hell I damn well please here. And if you don't like it, you're more than welcome to leave. Nobody is keeping you here. So we have this blood, still trying to figure out that this spot right here. This right here. All this drippy is fine, right? It's this right here because this shows an act of violence. This shows force of something. And I want to know what that force was. So whose professional need handless illumination in the dark or dark cramped spaces, allowing them to keep both hands available for tasks? Pilots, mechanics, electricians. Notice what I said. My father was what? An electrician. I love that you stand your ground. I just expect people, I'm so sick and tired of people thinking that they can just talk and act all the way the hell they want to act. No, you cannot. We need to bring humanity and respect back. And if you don't have respect for other people, well, damn it, you don't belong here. Okay? And I pop off at the mouth too. But you know what? The thing is I work for it. My name's on the show. So if I pop off at the mouth, who's going to block me? Just saying. Just saying. This is a do as I say, not as I do show. Okay? And I own it. Okay? Life's not fair. I don't pretend that it is. I don't pretend that it is. So, yes, we did see that. I did go over this. Okay, so the whole thing about the Google searches, okay, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but since some people were asking in the chat, we do have it pulled up. I did go over it. I watched the whole entire Megyn Kelly show yesterday on this topic. The reason why it's not being brought into this is because it doesn't provide us a whole lot of information. Okay. Yes, we do have. Oh, thank you, Let Them 66. I appreciate that. Love you. Love you. Prayer angel. Our prayer angel. Marissa says, grew up on a farm lifting heavy things. Exactly. Exactly. And you learn to do it. I can tell you, I lifted a teacher when I was in preschool. Okay. I know you guys don't want to believe me, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. And if you don't believe me, all you got to do is the heaviest person you know, go grab them down by their knees. Lift up. You can lift a lot of weight. You learn to do things and you learn to use your body to move stuff without hurting yourself. Okay? I learned it very young because my dad taught me very young. So it is what it is. I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. I got no reason to lie. Okay? I'm just saying. But the reason why is, yes, we do have Google Trends. Yes, we see that somebody was searching these people, but this doesn't, I think this just supports that this was a organized situation here. Somebody was obviously, but somebody was looking, I don't know, somebody looking at her net worth. I've done that several times. I've looked at George Clooney's net worth. I've looked at, I don't know how many people's net worth. We will be watching a movie and something will come across and you'll be like, oh, I wonder about this person. You'll get on the computer and do something. So yeah, the Google Trends are okay. The floor plan, yeah, that's a little interesting. Why somebody's looking at the floor plan of the house before she disappears. But those things are not going to be anything that we can research. We're not going to be able to find out who did those searches. We know that they happened. And so I see that they happened. I know that the Google Trends is showing that Nancy was searched, that the net worth of Savannah was searched. The concerning one is the property. Them wanting to know the layout of the property and stuff like that. That would be where I would focus on trying to uncover the IP address and who made those searches and why did they make those searches. But it's definitely out there and I understand it and it's very interesting, but it's not bringing us any closer to finding out who did this to Nancy.
Let's bring in forensic expert and the host of Body Bags, Joseph Scott Morgan. Joseph, great to have you on the show. I want to read this. This is a Fox News headline. It says, quoting here, internet user searched for Nancy Guthrie's address and daughter's salary before today's host's mother vanished. It goes on to say Google Trends records show there was activity for Guthrie's address in the Catalina foothills between June 21 and June 28, 2025. Originating in Arizona, the address saw activity again on January 11th, 2026. How do they follow up something like this, Joseph? I mean, what do you do to be able to track somebody like that down?
Well, I think the key here is to try to understand the nature of the platform that they're using, how those search cues in their own search kind of correlate with other data. I think, Trace, one of the things I've been fascinated by this relative to this data and specifically is, were there any announcements relative to, say, for instance, Miss Guthrie's salary relative to new contracts, that sort of thing? Was there some?
Yeah, there's something. This is where we're all kind of getting off. Okay, it says why the tarp held up covering the Range Rover. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I know that there was a car out in front of this home that had been wrecked prior to that belonged to Luke DALEY, and when the car was actually removed from that property, which was after the raid, it was done by State Farm. State Farm came by to pick up that car. That car was damaged and wrecked prior to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and sat in that driveway. I think that's what you're talking about. But it was not the Range Rover. It was a different type of car, and I don't remember what kind of car it was. I want to say it was like a Nissan or a Kia or something. I don't remember specifically what it was. Folks, you can disagree without being rude. You don't know her like that. She may can pick up a whole big... I can pick up a lot of weight, period. I've been able to pick up a lot of weight from a very young age. I picked up my teacher when we went to the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, I used to show it off because I thought it was cool. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. And if you don't believe me, I can guarantee you can probably show your child how to pick up somebody that's heavier. You pick up lower on the body. That's it. Okay. You disperse the weight. What I'm trying to tell you, I was taught that at a very, very young age, and it makes it a little easier. And this is what construction workers are learn very early on, is how to disperse weight so they can carry a lot more of it. And so because I was driving on my dad's truck, again, I when I was supposed to be in preschool, I was riding on my dad's truck. He's a guy, okay? He didn't look at me like his little girl, okay? He looked at me like another hand. Like I had an extra hand to help him. Hand me the pliers. By 2 years old, and I got to tell you, let me tell you something else you ain't going to believe. By 2 years old, I knew what a Phillips was. I knew what a flathead was. I knew what channel locks were. I knew what dikes were, okay? And I was handing those things by 2 or 3 years old to my daddy when he asked for the product. So you can take that to the bank too. I was a smart girl. I have a very high IQ and I'm pretty smart, believe it or not. So from her head, she hit her head on something. It busted her head sometime back. I had to carry her. Drops like that, almost exactly that way. She was thrown over my shoulder. That's how I found out. That's what made that sense to that, because the one thing that was missing on that front door, in all honesty, was the footprints. Like, you had all this blood going on out there. You had, the drops of blood. You had that spray of whatever happened, and then you have. You don't see any footprints. And that just was odd to me. How did that happen? And that's when somebody said they most likely had her over their shoulder and walking forward. So the blood was trailing behind them, not in front of them. Therefore, they wouldn't have stepped on it. And so I saw that video of the yellow tarp being there. It was stopped. I'm not sure. You'll have to send that to me. Maybe I'm thinking of something that I didn't see. Maybe you saw something I didn't review. So you might want to send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I can look at it and tell you what I think. But anyways, getting back to this, I get that this is interesting with the Google searches. That's why it was further down in the show. But at the end of the day, I don't think that this is really going to be, yeah, it's interesting that somebody was searching this stuff. But I honestly believe they need to be more focused on the search related to the floor plan of the house. That's super important. But will this provide a lead? Hopefully it will. Hopefully it will. But I wouldn't be worried about the net worth or anything like that. I'd be worried more about map requests to the address, lay of the land. I would hate for, it's so funny because we deal with this all the time, right? And true crime, we're constantly looking at people's addresses. We're constantly looking for floor plans. We're constantly investigating, a new story to talk about. And these searches may be innocent. It might be that Savannah was talking about these things, and so somebody decided that they wanted to get a little more involved with that talking point and decided to do, like, maybe write an article about her, and decided to, talk about her family or the house and how they lived there and stuff like that. This could have been, all these searches on the trends could have been a legitimate just research searches. Now, I don't believe that, to be honest with you. I think that's, if this is what we're looking at, we don't know what we're looking at here, but it doesn't look like it was a burglary or robbery gone wrong. It doesn't look like, obviously, the immediate family wasn't trying to hurt their mother. And it doesn't appear that a few of the people that are under suspicion right now, that it could be them that removed her from the house, at least, right? Now, they may be involved in another capacity, but being removed from the house as is. So those are the questions that we have still left with this whole entire story. And now we're moving to this Google Trends, and we're not going to be able to make heads or tails of this Google Trends. It's definitely interesting information, but it's not going to help us locate who this did. Now, it might help law enforcement locate who did these searches, but we will never have that kind of information for us as laymen and average Joe people here, unless law enforcement releases that to us. That is stuff that we will never have. We will never have knowledge of. We will be able to see the search, but we'll never be able to have knowledge of the IP addresses that searched them. So it's, for our purposes here, it's good to know the information, but it's not going to help us at all. Okay? For our purposes, this is not going to help us at all.
Some kind of cue there that drew their sight to this. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that people knew that her mom lived in this location. And when you look at her, an elderly lady that's infirmed, that would come across as an easy target. And I think this also goes to a bigger picture that we've been.
But didn't anybody, even with it being an easier target, wouldn't somebody naturally think that she's on medication? Do you think there could be an underworld connected to those two? I heard about that. I think that's too far-fetched. I do believe there are some creepy little groups here, around this country, not just in Arizona, because we had that Alabama case, that Bibb County. It was, if you guys didn't hear about that, it was horrific. I'm disgusted. Still to this day, disgusted. Still so Jeffrey Epstein, but worse. Worse. It's worser. It's worse than you could ever imagine in Bibb County, Alabama. And it dawned on me, if that happened there, that can happen literally anywhere. And it probably does. And that was my first eye-opening that something like that, bunkers and children and things like that, happen in this country. And people are profiting, which is even more disturbing, right? It's disturbing that somebody would have that appetite, but it's more disturbing that people are profiting off of it. But I digress. So it made me realize that this type of stuff happens everywhere. So is there an underworld? You know, I'm sure there is somewhere. Would they be involved in this? I still feel it's something more. I still feel that I don't think we It's a hard question because I don't think we've scratched the surface on what this is really about. Something happened. We're being withheld. Something is being withheld from the public that really makes a difference in this case. Law enforcement is withholding something. A family is withholding something from the public that is relevant in this case. That would be the aha type of thing, like that aha moment, right? And why would the neighbors call the Adult Protective Services? I don't know, but I did understand. I did understand that because I'm part of my county and we have services and we have to prove services at a county level and stuff like that. So I kind of understand why that all happened the way it happened. But it still doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know if that was appropriate the way that it was handled, but I do understand why the Adult Protective Services were there and what their purpose of being there was for. So yes, they did ask. And another thing is this office, the sheriff, and starting to really bother me, him doing these one-off interviews and him getting these interviewees in the hot seat so he can belittle them about their coverage of him. And I've got to tell you, I don't like this. This sheriff went from being a nice guy to being a underhanded sheriff to me. Okay. He's treating media differently. He's treating social media much different than mainstream media. And at the end of the day, we have the same constitutional rights. I think it's time if people like Ashley Banfield, people with deeper pockets like Megyn Kelly, and other content creators started standing firm. Because remember, mainstream media had to fight for their rights. And it's going to be just like that for mainstream or for social media. We need to start fighting for our rights. He is an ass clown. He is absolutely an ass clown. And this whole thing of them of our government being disrespectful, I about had it. And I'm going to tell you, it's hard because I'm an activist and an advocate. And when you do things, I want to activate. I want to get out there. I want to make noise. I want to be a problem for you. I want to cause you as much discomfort as humanly and lawfully possible that I can cause you. That is my motivation behind it. It might be a little vindictive. I own it. I'm perfectly fine with that. What I'm not okay with is any government official taking taxpayer, federal funds, or local funds and treating their public like shit. Okay? That's a good way to get me smeared all over you. And the likes of me, once smeared all over you, don't wash off too well. So it's just one of those things where this sheriff that I did not want to be mean to because he's a nice guy, he's turning into being a very underhanded person. I've seen it personally myself, and I do not like it. He is corrupt. And like I said, we're dealing with a Sumner County 2.0. I truly believe we're dealing with a Sumner County 2.0. I don't like it. And when I deal with so much, and I deal, and I put up with stuff, usually we would already be out there, right? We would already been out there. Had certain situations not be the way that they are, we would already be out there. And I'm actually setting myself up right now so the next time we have a breaking news case, it doesn't affect our legal fund. And so right now I've got some things in the works right now so we can still take our breaking news cases without affecting our legal fund. And if you guys would like to donate to our legal fund, please consider doing it, because sometimes we get ourselves in a legal quagmire, because I will not stop. I will not stop. If they've got to arrest me, then they've got to arrest me. As long as I'm not breaking the law, I know wherever I go, they've got to let me go. Okay? I do follow the law. I never break the law. There's only been, I shouldn't say, I've skirted the law a few times. If I wanted to be honest, and I am going to be honest with you, like I did go and approach Alec Murdaugh's property. I went and walked the dog cage, okay? And I got video behind the camera, or behind the scenes. But in all fairness, I had somebody from the community that knew the sheriff and took me back there. So I was perfectly fine that even if I got in trouble, I would not have any major consequences. And it wasn't even Alec Murdaugh's property at the time. It was just switched hands to some investment company at the time. So either way, you know, I would have gotten, if I would have gotten in trouble, it would have been a slap on the wrist. I knew what the, what I was taking on when I chose to walk on that property and go back there and take that footage. And I chose to. Right? If I got in trouble for that, I chose to get in trouble for that. I thought the risk was worth the reward. Okay. So I did do that. But as far as violence or, you know, that kind of, no, I'll do something to get a story. And sometimes it'll land me in hot water. Right. But the whole situation with the legal fund and everything like that is I was arrested. I was arrested for doing my job. I did not get out of my car. I did not approach people. And they basically told the law enforcement that I've never called them, never made contact with them, but somehow threatened them with a gun and threatened them with a machete. Oh, by the way, I did that while I was online. I threatened them. Well, like I'm talking right now, that I did this while I was here. Well, the problem is we have over almost 700 videos of that case. 700. Body cam, I wear body cam everywhere I go, so there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nobody could ever say I'm somewhere. I can prove wherever I'm at any given time when I'm out in the field, okay? So I never worry about that. But they said that I threatened them online. We went through every single video, pulled every single transcript. Not one time was it ever even implied, which I knew it was never. But still, my attorney doesn't know me from Adam, right? So he needed to find out himself. So I had to pay him to find out, to go through 700 freaking videos to find out I did nothing wrong. So he'd represent me and do it well, right? And so now I've got the attorney that I absolutely love and that has worked his ass off to make sure that the people that did this to me are going to pay. And so that's it costs a lot of money to do that. Okay. We're already out right now. I think we're already up to $35,000 right now. And we're not even close to being over. So that's where we're at. So if you guys would like to help, and we're going to fight. You're not going to lie about me, not in that way, and think you're going to get away with it. And you damn sure are not going to throw me in jail when I've never broken a law and think that I'm just going to be kosher and just turn around and say, yeah, you know what? Well, forget it. Don't worry about it. You have a great day, sir. Right? No, we don't play like that. We're coming for you. Okay? We're coming for you lawfully and legally. You lie under oath, you get somebody thrown in jail, I'm not done until your asses are in jail too. Okay? I'm just letting you know where my focus is. I want bankruptcy and jail for them. That is their future. And if I can help facilitate it, by God, that's what I'm going to do, because what they did was wrong and they almost bankrupted me. So you know what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm coming for that ass, lawfully and legally. I'm going to paddle it, right? I'm going to paddle that in the courtrooms. So that's what we need. So if you guys would like to help out, you're more than welcome. We're not through it yet. I still haven't gotten I talked to my attorney a couple weeks ago and I'm like, well, at this point, I'd rather it less expensive and less expedient than more expensive and more expedient, because I want this over with. But at this point, we've been going through it for 2 years. Okay. If I can save a few $1,000, gosh, I'm going to do it. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to do it. So at the end of the day, we haven't gotten our bill yet, but it's coming. It's coming, folks. So I'm a little nervous. I hate the unknown, but I ain't rocking the boat either. Right? I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, and he's like, well, I got to call the appeals court and see if they got your paperwork in. And I'm like, okay. And then I keep thinking, I really would like to know, but do I really? Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Hate hose here. Well, thank you. You're official. You're official, hate hose. You're official. So welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insanity Love. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard, because I'm a love machine. Ow! So, anyways, that's where we're going. So I'm coming for blood. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm coming for blood. Once we get in here and we get this stuff worked out, I'm coming for something, right? I've been damaged. Damaged. They have no idea how much damage they caused. None. And so, when those days come, but we're going to keep fighting. And, but now, don't worry, guys. I officially got everything fixed up. So now we can travel and still collect money. Okay. I got it all set up now. It's all in. Okay. We're not touching this, but we still going to have this. We just didn't have it set up for this trip here. But now that we got all of it set up, things are looking better, And if you guys want to know how I'm doing, it's called credit. Right? So I've got it set up. So I got travel cards. So we get discounts for travel. And I actually get a few extra perks with my travel card, including 2 check bags per flight. That means I can bring my equipment with me. I can bring my stinking equipment with me. So we're not just going to be on the phone in the light computer. We're going to actually have, thank you, gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. How I win the lottery. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty channel. If you learn how to win a lottery, please share the secret. Please share the secret. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insanity Love. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room. Welcome aboard, because I'm a love machine. Ow! Okay, let's get back to this. Unfortunately, I don't see where these trends are going to help us find Nancy's kidnapper, but, it's definitely interesting information.
Been talking about for a while, and that's literally casing, that old term, casing the area. So you're going to case it not just physically driving around, but also electronically. And of course, I think that's what we're looking at least at this point in time.
Yeah, another headline for you here, Joseph. The Daily Mail says Nancy Guthrie, cops investigate abductor's pinky ring spotted under glove in doorbell footage as new sophisticated ransom note comes to light. And then you can see right here, we got the video they're talking about. And they say if you look close, you can see under the glove right there, boom, that you got a pinky ring there. How important is that?
I want to remind you guys, all these things that they're talking about today on, February 18th, they were talking about it yesterday, 18 days in, these were derived by social media. Okay? I received the reports on this 24 hours after this was released by social media people. Okay? Including this right here, which it looks like the guy wears boxers. Is it anything important? It might not be. It might be shorts. They got shorts. I would go to venture to say boxers. He likes to breathe, folks. He likes to breathe. Just saying. Maybe he likes it swinging in the wind. Maybe he scratched his pair and got DNA on the wall that way. Who's getting drunk this early? Nah, I don't drink. I don't do anything. I actually quit smoking. This right here, coffee, this is my addiction. If I could drink this crap all day long, I'd drink this crap all day long. I really would. But we need water. Everybody tells me I gotta have water. I don't know why the hell we need water. I remember when I used to drink like a fish. I don't remember anybody saying, oh, you probably need to drink a bottle of water. Maybe they did, but I just forgot. But now the beer has turned dark. This is the dark brew that we have. This is the cocktail of the morning. The cocktail of the morning. What you got? I got a little bit of caramel. What about you? I got a little Splenda in mine. What about you? Oh, I got a lot of sugar in this tank, baby. Oh, yeah. How do we forget? There is water. There's our water intake. Shorts too bulky for boxers. Okay, so shorts. Is it? You know what? JLR does it, right? He's got those basketball shorts. Is that JLR? I need to stop. I need to stop. Quit trying to get that man thrown in jail. Come on, Betty. You meanie? What the hell you doing? No, I'm just joking. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. There you go. Okay. That works for me too. Oh, thank God you quit vaping now. Oh my gosh, you guys should have seen me vaping. Good gracious. I'd lose the vape. I want that flippin' vape! Stop the presses! We can't go anywhere! I can't find the vape. Stop dead in the middle of the freaking road. Pop the doors open. Can't move the car without the damn vape, folks. You just can't do it. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm glad those days are over. Now she's gonna have a problem with me. See, I got jokes too. Now she's gonna have a problem with me because now it's gonna be, where the fuck's the coffee? Oh, sorry, Sonia. Where's the coffee? I can't move.
The news is fake. That was false and fake and never happened.
Where's my coffee?
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Okay, nicotine gum. I couldn't do the gum. I don't know what it was about the gum. It hurt it did something. I don't know. Maybe I have a sensitive mouth or something. I don't know. I couldn't do the gum. I stepped to the vape. When I went from the cigarettes to the vape, I was miserable. I remember I was out there in front of Brian Laundrie's house, and I remember I had just told Jonathan to go himself or something like that. I remember he turned around. He goes, I don't care what you have to do. If you got to go buy a whole damn pack of cigarettes and smoke them, just smoke them. I don't care. I'm like, oops. Yeah, I do that. But after that, I swore, because it was so hard to get from the cigarettes to the vape. I did not want to go back to the cigarettes. I just didn't. I couldn't. It was that miserable. And it was just about that miserable. Not quite. Going from the cigarettes to the vape was the most miserable thing I've ever done. But going from the vape to nothing, not so bad. I went from the vape to the patch, and I was on the patch for about, 5 or 6 weeks. And then after that, I was done. So that was it. I'm so proud of you, honestly. Me too. I'm so thankful. I just got sick and tired of it. It was just everywhere. Anyways, let's get back to this. So we got a lot of things that we are noticing. Listen, it's not the family. This person didn't go back to Mexico, so I'd have to say that Mexico's not a tie. So yeah, they can be a Hispanic descent, which seems to be what everybody's thinking, but it's not a person that took Nancy or ran back or fled to Mexico. Mexico is out. And then now we're learning that Luke DALEY, his profile's in CODIS. There is no CODIS hit, so theoretically, I don't know how I should explain it, but he's been cleared, at least from the physical abduction of Nancy, unofficially. So what do I mean unofficially? It means that we've already heard law enforcement say there was no CODIS hit. Well, Luke is in CODIS. So if there was no CODIS hit, it can't be Luke. Okay? That's the philosophy behind this unofficial clearing of Luke DALEY of being physically present to remove this woman from her home. Now, if he is involved, which is a big if at this point, because I think we're still looking in the wrong direction. Because I have a funny feeling, guys, cause and effect, and we're not looking at it. And I'm sorry, but on the heels of and this is just a theory. I don't want you thinking that this is a rising theory. It's not. It's a theory that I've had since the beginning of this case, and it's Mark Orchard. Now, granted, Mark Orchard is overseas, but would he be able to reach out to somebody over here that's a punk that's willing to do something for $10,000 or $20,000? I believe he could. What's breaking news is that Luke DALEY is most likely unofficially, I just went over it. Luke DALEY is unofficially cleared as being physically involved with the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. And I just explained it because CODIS, they just said CODIS did not hit. And if CODIS did not hit, well, then Luke cannot be a depositor of the DNA on the glove or on the property because he's in CODIS. He's a felon. So Luke is at least cleared from physically taking her out of the home or having any physical contact with her around that time because the glove's not his. The DNA on the property is not his. He's in CODIS. So that I have to stretch that DNA breaking news. Luke is cleared by DNA. He's cleared by DNA of physically removing her from that home. So they're going to have to make a digital connection if he's involved. And I'm venturing to say he's probably not involved. He may know something, but I don't think he's involved. I still think that there's something more here where we don't know. There's an element here that if we knew would change the whole trajectory of who we're looking at in this case. I feel like the family or law enforcement is withholding a major piece, whether it's Savannah being stalked by a specific person or something to that effect. There still seems to be something missing. Is there a dysfunction in their family? Is there a section of family that they don't talk to anymore? That's like the Hackfield and McCoys. You know, there's something here that nobody is telling us that is well known in their family and by law enforcement. I don't know what that something is, but I always believe that we know that they have more information than we as lay people have. But to what degree? To what degree? Who was at Culvers? That was Zachary. I think Zach fits this profile better than Luke, in my opinion. I don't know what Zachary's history is. I don't know if he's a felon as well. I haven't looked at him yet. I don't even know Zach's last name. If somebody knows Zach's last name, please send it to me. I would like to do some investigative work on Zach. But as far as Luke is concerned, if Luke's DNA is in CODIS, which I'm hearing he's in CODIS. He went to prison. His shit is in CODIS. Okay? So if he's in CODIS and there's no CODIS hit, then he cannot be the depositor of the DNA. Period. There's no possibility. So this is someone who has not committed a crime before. So if Zach, okay, so let me write this name. I think I did write his name down once before, but I lost it. Let me write this down. Zach. Thank you, Criminal Network. Okay, so if Zach has no criminal record and he did not provide DNA, then we've got a problem. We've got a problem. Oh, that's right. He did have that weird name. Zaydun. That's right. I forgot. Yes. Zaydun. Okay. From Jordan. He's from Jordan. Ooh, so he's from a different country. That could work. They do weird stuff. In different countries, they do weird stuff. Not that Jordan's weird. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying people are raised differently. Like people from Venezuela and Honduras, they're in an environment that you eat or be eaten. Okay, so they will destroy you before you destroy them. So that's why it's so detrimental when you bring a bunch of people over that it's from third world countries that are violent, because if you don't fight or be violent, you don't survive. You know, you got to remember that. And when they come over here, they don't realize we're so docile. They think we're going to, you know, they have to take what they want. And so, you know, so they're saying Zach is actually a nice guy. Hey, I met a lot of nice guys. And I could tell you the people I hung out with, they were nice guys, but they would slice your throat. Real nice guys. I knew a lot of bad people in my prior life. Lots of bad people. And every person that I knew was the coolest person to hang out with. But I tell you what, many people were streaming that Zach was pulled over in the Range Rover. Not true. Okay, so that's where I was hearing it. That's where his name came up for me, is that he was pulled over in the Range Rover. They're saying that that's not true. John P. is saying 85-year-old man in Sydney, Australia was also kidnapped a week ago. Mistaken identity. He is being tortured. I hope Nancy isn't. I don't know what's going on with Nancy. I don't know why they would do that to them. It's not like they've got anything that can help them. I mean, I don't know. People are just, I don't understand. I think if we understood the reason behind this, I think it would be a lot clearer for us, but that's the problem we have. We don't know why. So let's read this one. And see, it starts again. I can't stand this. I just don't like it.
News journalist Sean Rice has been tracking this story for days now. And what have you been able to pin down here, Sean?
Yeah, Troy and Kribe, the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department will not publicly name any suspect or person of interest in the Nancy Guthrie case. But I've spent the last several days working to learn who exactly was questioned at a home this past Friday. That's when investigators served a search warrant at a home that's just 2 miles away from Nancy's own home. We can now report that man under questioning was 37-year-old Luke DALEY. In the Catalina Foothills area, late at night, back on February 13th, the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department were at two scenes at a home just 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home and in the parking lot of a Culvers, taking a very close look at a Range Rover.
We develop a lead and we follow it.
That lead led them to 37-year-old Luke DALEY. In a statement to 12 News, Chris Scalepi, Luke DALEY's attorney, said, quote, Scalepi Law can confirm that Luke DALEY was the subject of two search warrants issued and served on February 13th, 2026. Mr. DALEY and his mother were both detained by law enforcement while these search warrants were being executed. Neither Mr. DALEY nor his mother were arrested in connection to the case or any other. Mr. DALEY has no link whatsoever to Nancy Guthrie and has no information related to her kidnapping. Like the entire Tucson community, both Mr. DALEY and his mother are hopeful that Nancy will be returned to her family unharmed. Chris Nanos tells 12 News they presented evidence to a federal judge, got these search warrants, and processed both scenes, not only in search of suspects, but also in search of Nancy herself.
Nancy wasn't there. The person of
My question is, why are they covering up the name and identity of the person in the Range Rover? Have you guys noticed that? We have, I mean, outside of the rumors that are going out that this was this Zaghub or whatever from Jordan, we don't know who that person was. We're learning about Luke and his mother, but we have nobody definitively saying that this is the man that was questioned in the Range Rover. Even now, when we're going through all of this, they're talking about the mom and the son, but what about the Range Rover? Who was that? They're not saying it publicly, and it's making me... Luke DALEY was with his mother when they pulled her out of the house, because I do know that Luke was there. He was detained there on the spot at the home. But the Range Rover, we're passing around that it's this Zach guy that was in the Range Rover. But in all fairness, I'm not hearing one report from an official source that it was a Zach. I don't know how Zach's name got involved in here. Luke was driving the Range Rover. His mom and brother Matthew were being detained. Okay. So where did Zach's name come from? I thought everybody said Zach was in the Range Rover. This is why it's so confusing for me. No, Luke was in the Range Rover. Then Luke's the one that I saw with the big fat hands, not Zach. I don't know. It seems like Zach's face would be more in line with this, but who wears a pinky ring?
interest, gave us a statement, gave us his, whatever the warrant was for, maybe petition for physical characteristics of buccal swabs or photos or finger. We got everything we needed, and he is set free. Now, does that mean he's not a suspect?
That's DNA.
No, we'll do our work. We've got evidence to process from the home.
So they got
what if we
buccal
find
swabs.
Nancy's DNA in that home?
Daley and his family members were all released after the multi-hour investigation. He does have a criminal history, arrested in 2022, later convicted of drug distribution charges, and he was sentenced to 4 years on probation. He was arrested again last year in possession of fentanyl and a gun. His probation officer filed a petition to revoke his probation, but a judge allowed for him to remain on the streets and not be sent to the Pima County Jail. And because DNA evidence will likely be crucial to finding who did this, it's important to note that Daley's DNA profile would likely be in CODIS. That's the law enforcement database that stores DNA from people who have either been convicted of a crime or have had their DNA collected from a separate crime scene. Now, in the Guthrie case, we've been told there have been no positive DNA matches from any of the evidence they've collected.
That's a problem for me. There's been no DNA profile hits despite 3 or 4 or 5 people being entered into the CODIS DNA system. So they're up the wrong track too. In my opinion, their law enforcement is not, we're not getting anywhere. Good morning. Oh, Eric, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Bonnie, Nancy must be bleeding easily. Well, yeah, she's on blood thinners, so it wouldn't take much to get Nancy bleeding. It wouldn't take much at all. So, yeah. Guys, also, I did want to let you know that tonight we're going to be having a call-in show on the Bullhorn Betty channel. This is going to be to talk about all of our stuff. We haven't opened up the channel to you guys yet. There's a lot going on here in this case. I know that many of you have your perspectives, and I want to hear from you because I'm confused. We need to start having roundtable conversations because we need to get we need to open up the flow of information, right? We need to open up the flow of information because we don't know what's going on. There have been people cleared. There have been people that there's no DNA. Listen, he's talking about buccal swabs. Okay, I don't know if you know what those are, but that's your DNA. Those swabs are what they do in your mouth. Okay, so that means all these people that they had detained, they've swabbed. Okay, those swabs are not matching. So even law enforcement themselves, in my opinion, are barking up the wrong tree. So we have no family. Mexico is out. Luke Daley appears to be out. So where does this leave us? Folks, if we believe this is closer to home, then maybe this is closer to home. We got to look at Savannah. I think Savannah may actually be key here, and it's unfortunate that we're saying that. Because I don't want her to ever feel that she was responsible for whatever happened to her mom, because it's not her fault. But with that being said, she did a live stream or a documentary on Tucson a few months before her mother disappeared. She just talked about her ex a week before her mother disappeared. A week. When you're looking at cause and effect, and you're looking at this person outside of this door knowing he's there for a purpose, but the purpose is not one of burglary, it's not one of robbery, it's not one of benefit for themselves. It makes you question. What was the purpose? And to me, it seems resentful, revenge. It seems like that because we've been looking at the motivation of money. And the motivation of money is not panning out, folks. It's just not panning out. So what did she do to hurt somebody? What did somebody do? Hey, Tom, it's nice to see you. I'm very confused with this case. I am too. Don't feel bad. I don't know what to believe either. This is one of the most perplexing cases that it's so perplexing my brain is numb. That's why I've got to open up the phones, is because I can't figure out for the life of me what all of these things could mean. I keep going to the drawing. So maybe us having a round table this evening, we're going to do this around 6 o'clock tonight. We're going to open up the phone lines and get you guys calling in. And maybe we'll do it at 5:30. Maybe we'll do it at 5:30. I'll set up the live now. I'll set it up for 5:30. But we need to open this up and start getting some flow of information in. I'm stumped. We're all stumped. We're all scratching our heads. We've got to remove the family. I know people are going to want to hold on to the family, but we can't. For the purposes of what we're doing here tonight, we need to listen to law enforcement. If Mexico's out and the family's out, we need to look past that. I'm not willing to take Luke Daley off of the list. I'm putting him further down on the list because we've got DNA back and it doesn't seem like it matches him. So that's going to cause us a little bit of problems, but that's okay. That's okay. We need to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what transpired. We have somebody that went to a woman's house, an 84-year-old woman's house in the middle of the night. Nothing good can come of somebody breaking into your house in the middle of the night. But when somebody's breaking into your house in the middle of the night, it's not because they are trying to burglarize that home or rob that home. It's because of some other motivation. We have not been able to figure out what that motivation is. Maybe it's something to do with the ex. I mean, that's where I'm going with this, because she did talk about her ex-husband literally 1 week before this took place. So, yeah, because this feels close, but far. It seems like somebody had this, but you know what? If we were to go and we were to incorporate that Google Trends, then this is something that may have happened last year. So what happened last year? Was it when was the video of her doing her segment on her hometown? When was that recorded and released? If that was done last year before November, well, then that might be the reason why we're here. Google Trends does have it, but again, I don't think it's going to help us, figure out who did this. But it's definitely something we need to plug in. I know, I heard that. I meant to tell you guys that this morning. Prince Andrew, I saw that first thing this morning. If you guys don't know, Prince Andrew, I think, might be the very first arrest on the Epstein files. Prince Andrew, he's not Prince Andrew anymore because he got his title stripped from him. But he's officially in jail, folks. He's officially in jail for the Epstein stuff.
Now to a 12 News exclusive. A Tucson criminal defense attorney says that his client has been detained, questioned, and
close look at a Range Rover at a home just 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home, and in the parking lot of a Culvers, taking a very close look at a Range Rover.
We develop a lead and we follow it.
That lead led them to 37-year-old Luke Daley. In a statement to 12 News, Chris Scalepi, Luke Daley's attorney, said, quote, Scalepi Law can confirm that Luke Daley was the subject of 2 search warrants issued and served on February 13th, 2026. Mr. Daley and his mother were both detained by law enforcement while these search warrants were being executed. Neither Mr. Daley nor his mother were arrested in connection to the case or any other. Mr. Daley has no link whatsoever to Nancy Guthrie and has no information related to her kidnapping. Like the entire Tucson community, both Mr. Daley and his mother are hopeful that Nancy will be returned to her family unharmed. Chris Nanos tells 12 News they presented evidence to a federal judge, got these search warrants, and processed both scenes, not only in search of suspects, but also in search of Nancy herself.
Nancy wasn't there. The person of interest gave us a statement, gave us his whatever the warrant was for, maybe petition for physical characteristics of buccal swabs or photos or finger.
Aired in December.
We got everything we needed, and he is set free. Now, does that mean he's not a suspect any longer? No, we'll do our work. We've got evidence to process from the home. What if we find Nancy's DNA in that home?
Daley and his family members were all released after the multi-hour investigation. He does have a criminal history, arrested in 2022, later convicted of drug distribution charges, and he was sentenced to 4 years on probation. He was arrested again last year in possession of fentanyl and a gun. His probation officer filed a petition to revoke his probation, but a judge allowed for him to remain on the streets and not be sent to the Pima County Jail.
Yeah, I guess they got to learn like everybody else. And of course, we learned that the no DNA hits, even after the buccal swabs or buccal swabs or whatever you want to call them. Nancy Guthrie's search intensifies after SWAT raid in Arizona detains 2 men. We're learning that is, I don't know where Zach came in, but it sounds like he might have just been the one that sold the Range Rover in that. Yeah. Probably why he's driving around in a Range Rover, you know? He's just a common, yep. So either way you look at it, this is not a good situation, but it sounds like they're not the people, folks. They're just not the people. I'd love for nothing more than to have the right person in our clasps, in our clutches. And it doesn't sound like Zach or Luke are the person. If Luke was it, I would have anticipated at least some type of DNA profile matching. We're not getting that. We're not getting an arrest. And we got him and his attorney saying it's not us. So this is, again, who is this person that's not linked to Mexico? This defies logic, and I'm confused. So if we're all kind of confused together, we'll just keep showing back up every day. Again, tonight at 5 o'clock, we're going to be doing a call-in show here on the Bullhorn Betty channel where you guys can express your opinions about this case. Let's go to the drawing board. Let's figure out what we're looking at here. And let's call into the show and get some gears, let's get the juices moving, because somewhere in all of this information lies the truth. And I believe in the true crime community. We're good at putting stuff together. And it's just putting out a whole bunch of suggestions and stuff that doesn't make sense until we find the thing that does make sense. That's what it's all about. So we need to start getting that working. So we're going to be back here 5 o'clock, 5:30 today. 5 o'clock. Let's do 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock today, this afternoon. We'll be back here. We're going to do a call-in show. There's the call-in phone number. I will have this up. You don't have to remember the call-in number. I will have this up during the duration of our call show. We'll do that tonight. 5 o'clock, folks. 5 o'clock. Call-in show. Be there or be square. We'll see you back here at that time. God bless you. I will be over at TikTok today doing some updates. So if you haven't seen me over there, please do that. And I'm also I'm working on the details and finishing and finalizing a story that I'll be dropping on Substack as well. I haven't had time to work on the website. We do have equipment in, but the equipment's not whole. I can't hook it up. We're not going to be able to hook it up until after March. Because I ordered the camera and didn't realize I ordered it from China. So now I have to wait for it to be delivered from China, and it's too late to cancel the order and buy the camera from America. So it is what it is. It's a hurry up and wait situation. So I'll start working on building the website and getting that website up and running here soon. And maybe we'll have the website up by March 1st and maybe have the new CAMRON system up by April 1st. It looks like that's going to be more in line with our schedule. So we'll just have to flip some things around. But I'm working a lot behind the scenes. So please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. We are changing a lot. We're changing our format. We're changing our look, we're changing the feel, we're changing a lot of different things about the Bullhorn Betty channel. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. Please come back every day and help us grow. The best way you can help Bullhorn Betty grow is this thumbs up. The thumbs up and sharing us on social media platforms. If you're in groups, put our stuff out there. Let people know that we're having these discussions. Maybe it's something they'll be interested in, right? I think we're learning a little bit new each day. At least I wake up every day learning something new. And if I'm learning something new, I have to assume that you guys are learning something new as well. So we'll keep developing this story from here. But I'm kind of excited about tonight because I think we'll get a little bit of broad perspectives on this case. So see you guys here 5 o'clock tonight. God bless, and we'll see you soon.